Welcome to gcready.com. Let us see some of the questions on C language variables. What is a variable in C language? Variables are memory location in computer. Variables are memory location in computer's memory to store the data. To indicate the memory location, each variable should be given a unique name called identifier. Variable names are just the symbolic representation of a memory location. Examples of variable name are sum, count, etc. Example, int num. Here, num is a variable of integer type. Give the rules for variable declaration. The rules for variable declaration in C are given below. A variable name consists of alphabets, digits, and the underscore character. The length of the variable should be kept up to 8 characters, though your system may allow up to 40 characters. They must begin with an alphabet. Some systems also recognize an underscore as the first character. White space and commas are not allowed. Any reserved word cannot be used as a variable name. How to declare a variable in C language? All variables must be declared before we use them in C program. Although certain declarations can be made implicitly by content. To declare a variable, you specify its name and data type it can store. The variable declaration always ends with a semicolon. A declaration specifies a type and it contains a list of one or more variables of that type. Example, type variable underscore list. Here, type must be a valid C data type including char, int, float, double or any user defined data type, etc. And variable underscore list may contain one or more identifier names separated by the commas. A variable can be declared multiple times in a program, but it must be defined only once. How to assign values to a variable? A variable can be considered as a box that can hold a single value. However, initially the content of the variable or a box is empty. Therefore, before one can use a variable, it must receive a value. Do not assume the compiler or the computer will put some value, say 0, into a variable. There are at least 3 ways to put a value into a variable. Initializing it when the program is run, using an assignment statement, reading a value from the keyboard or other device with a read statement, and variables may have values assigned to them through the use of an assignment statement. Such a statement uses the assignment operator equal to symbol. This operator does not denote equality. It assigns the value of the right hand side of the statement, that is the expression, to the variable on the left hand side. Initializing a variable is only done exactly once when the computer loads your program into memory for execution. That is, all initializations are done before the program starts its execution. The use of uninitialized variables may cause unexpected result. What is the difference between declaring a variable and defining a variable? Declaration of a variable in C hints the compiler about the type and size of the variable in compile time. Similarly, declaration of a function hints about type and size of the function parameters. No space is reserved in memory for any variable in case of declaration. Example, int a. Variable a is declared of data type int. Defining a variable means declaring it and also allocating the space for holding it. We can say that definition is equal to declaration plus space reservation. Example, int a equals to 10. Here, variable a is described as an int to the compiler and memory is allocated to hold the value 10. Define the terms scope, visibility and lifetime of a variable. Scope. The scope of a variable is the range of program statements that can access that variable. The lifetime of a variable is the interval of the time in which storage is bound to the variable. A variable is visible within its scope and invisible or hidden outside it. What are the different types of variables depending on variable scope? Depending on the scope of the variable, in C language, variables could be classified as global variables and local variables. Global variables. Global variables in C have the declaration outside the function definition of all functions used within the program, and it remains in the memory as long as the program is executing. All global variables in C could be accessed from anywhere in the program, which means that any expression in the program can access the global variable regardless of what block that expression is written. Thus, the global variables have their scope global. Local variables. Local variables are declared within a function definition and thus could only be accessed from anywhere in that function in which it is declared. Thus, local variables have their scope local to the function in which they are declared and are unknown to other functions outside their own function. Local variables are defined and initialized every time a function containing them is called, and as soon as the compiler exits from that function, the local variable is destroyed. What is A storage class in C language. A storage class is an attribute that tells us where the variable would be stored, what will be the initial value of the variable if no value is assigned to that variable, in the lifetime of the variable, and scope of the variable. What are the different types of storage classes in C language? Storage class tells us where the variable is stored, initial value of the variable, scope of the variable. The scope specifies the part of the program which a variable is accessed, and life of the variable. There are four storage classes in C: automatic storage class, register storage class, static storage class, external storage class. What is an automatic storage class in C language? The keyword for automatic storage class is auto. Variables declared inside the function body are automatic by default. These variables are also known as local variables, as they are local to the function and they don't have meaning outside that function. Since variable inside a function is automatic by default, keyword auto are rarely used. Where is the auto variable stored? Auto variables can be stored anywhere so long as the recursion works. Practically, they are stored on the stack. It is not necessary that always a stack exists. You could theoretically allocate a function invocation records from the heap. What are the advantages of auto variables? The advantages of auto variables are the same auto variable name can be used in different blocks. There is no effect by changing the values in the blocks. The memory is economically used, and auto variables have protection because of local scope. What are register variables? What are the advantages of using the register variables? If a variable is declared with a register storage class, it is known as register variable. The register variable is stored in the CPU register instead of main memory. Frequently used variables are declared as register variable as its access time is faster. What does static variable mean? Static variables are the variables which retain their values between the function calls. They are initialized only once. Their scope is within the function in which they are defined. What is external storage class? External variable can be accessed by any function. They are also known as global variables. Variables declared outside every function are external variables. In case of large program containing more than one file, if the global variable is declared in file 1 and that variable is used in file 2, then compiler will show an error. To solve this problem, keyword extern is used in file 2 to indicate that the variable specified is global variable and declared in the another file. Can static variables be declared in a header file? We can't declare a static variable without defining it as well. This is because the storage class modifiers, static and external, are mutually exclusive. A static variable can be defined in a header file, but this would cause each source file that included the header file to have its own private copy of a variable, which is probably not what was intended. Is it acceptable to declare or define a variable in a C header? A global variable that must be accessed from more than one file should be declared in the header file. In addition, such a variable must be defined in one source file. Variables should not be defined in header files because the header file can be included in multiple source files, which would cause multiple definitions of the variable. The ANSI standard will allow multiple external definitions provided that there is only one initialization. But because there is really no advantage of using this feature, it's probably best to avoid it and maintain a higher level of portability. Global variables that do not have to be accessed from more than one file should be declared static and should not appear in a header file. What is a pointer variable? A pointer variable is a variable that may contain the address of the another variable or any valid address in the memory. What are different types of type qualifiers in C language? The keywords which are used to modify the properties of a variable are called type qualifiers. There are two types of qualifiers available in C language. They are const and volatile. What is const qualifier in C language? Constants are also like normal variables, but only difference is their values can be modified by the program once they are defined. They refer to the fixed values and they are also called as literals. They may be belonging to any of the data type. What is volatile qualifier in C language? When a variable is defined as volatile, the program may not change the value of the variable explicitly, but these variable values might keep on changing without an explicit assignment by the program. These type of qualifiers are called volatile. For example, if global variable's address is passed to clock routine of the operating system to store the system time, the value in this address keep on changing without any assignment by the program. These variables are named as volatile variable. Can a variable be both const and volatile? Yes. The const modifier means that this code cannot change the value of the variable, but that does not mean that the value cannot be changed by means outside this code. For instance, the timer structure was accessed through a volatile const pointer. The function itself did not change the value of the timer, so it was declared const. However, the value was changed by the hardware on the computer, so it was declared volatile. If a variable is both const and volatile, the two modifiers can appear in either order. What is signed and unsigned variable in C language? A numeric value may have a positive or a negative sign. In the memory, for a variable, one bit is used exclusively to maintain the sign of the data. If we don't have sign, the sign bit also may be used for data. If the value is negative, the sign bit is 1, and if it is positive,